Hey, what's up, everybody? Truth Seeker here. We're just waiting for more people to join the show here, real quick. We got 3 minutes on the clock remaining, and then we will start this.
Turbine guy bullied by local city mayor.
Yeah, documents prove that out. I ain't got to say nothing.
You need the hammer.
The
I
hammer.
need some law enforcement with some guts.
Ain't that the truth?
You may get it.
Hello, everybody out there. We'll be starting the show in about 2 more minutes. Please just hang in there. We're just waiting for everybody else to show up.
Got to say super chat.
You don't
Fought
gotta
a
say
battle.
that. You don't gotta say that.
I know. We fought a battle. Now it's back. We need to make a song called Super Chat. Fight a battle. Bring it back. Now it's back.
Well, I mean,
It's weird.
I guess while we're waiting, running the clock down, we'll fill people in on what's all been going on so far. Okay, so Jay Nygaard originally started off with a wind turbine, which you can see in that picture that I got right here in the middle of the screen. That one, he went to get a permit from the city, and the city said, no, you can't have it. And then court ordered him to actually have the pole removed and the concrete base also removed. And so he at first got the pole removed out. He got the anchor bolts and everything chiseled off, and they started jackhammering the concrete slab that was in his ground. And that started to crack the foundation. It was already inoperable. There was no way you could use it for anything anymore. But the judge was not satisfied with that and threw him in jail because of that. They threw him in jail because they didn't finish destroying this concrete slab that was cracking his foundation of his house. So his town actually helped him out, and his wife organized, some people to finally get it out. They released him not the day that it got removed, but what was it, 2 or 3 days after it got removed, Jay? Well, I think it was. I don't know where Jay just went, but yeah, it was about 2 or 3 days from then. And
Sorry, I was Facebooking again. It was over 24 hours, and they knew at 9:30 on a Monday, and I was released the next day at 2:30. But the thing is, the city of Orono never contacted the judge to say I'd complied, even though they knew. The only reason I was released was because of my wife's efforts and my lawyer's efforts to get me out of jail.
yeah, so they purposely kept him in there for as long as possible, as long as they could. That was the whole entire goal. And so now we're at this point. Now the judge ordered more things to get removed from his yard. And we did a follow-up stream yesterday where he actually showed that he complied with every single bit of the order. And now he went to court today, and today was the day that the judge was supposed to say, yes, I agree, you did everything. And instead of getting an answer like that, the judge told him, oh, well, there are still more things that need to be removed. We just haven't put it on the list. We misworded some things.
I see.
Yeah, they were disappointed that I'm not able to read their minds. The Orono lawyer is the one who wrote the order, and it's a very poorly written order, and it set the judge up to have a hard time with it. He knew he couldn't really do much today because the order was so bad, and it appears what he wants to do is to rewrite his order so it is very clear to me what he meant. Now, it was clear to me what he meant. I read the order, and I wasn't playing games. And that's what I was accused of today, was playing games. Over and over, I was accused of that. I was following the wording of the order because I'd been through that before and ended up in jail for having a useless buried chunk of concrete in my yard. So I thought I had complied. And Mr. Judge, I thought I had complied, and I was not playing games, no matter how much the Orno attorney will sit there in court and lie to you that I am.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
So,
beyond crazy. And I think that it's not just them. I think that there are some gas and electric companies who back these people, not allowing you to do what you'd like to do in your
so like go over the things like for example the steel fence post, or no, it was a clothesline post. In the order, it said that he had to remove a steel clothesline post. A meaning singular, right? Well, now the judge is like, oh no, I meant both.
Well, pretty much that's what he was trying to say, and that I should have known the difference. And from what I understand, orders are supposed to be specific and not general. And that one was specific, and I followed what was in it. And to think that I'm supposed to be reading like the city's mind or his mind, and I'm supposed to figure everything out, is kind of ridiculous. I've been married 27 years, and heck, I can't figure out what my wife's thinking half the time.
Absolutely. Now, here's the cool part. Okay, we had Hangman actually call up there today, and I want you guys to hear the conversation. This is the employees that they actually got running the joint, and I just want you to hear how this conversation went.
Let me hear.
Well, before you guys play the...
Hello, Dr.
It's already playing.
My name is
okay.
from Pennsylvania, and I just spent a few hours watching video of a citizen of your town. His name is Mr. Nygaard. Jay, I believe is his first name. And I see a man here trying to, everybody wants us to go green. I voted for Obama. Obama wants us green. All right. I voted for Hillary. Hillary wants us green. All right. So you guys are complaining that the president is turning everything back to fossil fuel. Why? Because here's a guy trying to go green, and you're going to put him in jail. And I just saw hours of him on video complying to every rule you have. And how come it doesn't apply to any of his neighbors? Years, a career soldier, and God forbid, if my son returned from combat tours to be treated like this in his own town. This is atrocious. I'm sorry for babbling on, but please, can I have some kind of an answer here?
Well, I mean, a lot of this is currently in litigation, and I can't really talk about it. So I appreciate your comment, and I understand your frustrations, but there's a lot more to the context than what his videos show, and it's in the courts.
Well, what's more to the context, and where can I go to find your version of this story? Because it doesn't look like, it looks more like you guys really don't have a case. This is like harassment. I'm sorry, I'm not accusing, but I'm trying to figure this out.
Well, the court documents are public. They've been filed in the courts. This case has been, this is the second or third version of a lawsuit since 2010.
I know, I've been following it. And this is why I got a problem.
Yeah, and I am also a veteran, and so are some of my employees. So, we're not, we understand that side of it. So that part is irrelevant. We have rules and laws based on what our citizens want, and there's requirements to be met, and if those requirements aren't met, then sometimes we
requirement.
That's
Well,
that's really all I have to say.
Yeah, I thank you for your service, son. That's great. I'm grateful for that. But it seems that the same rules don't apply to the neighbors. This is where I got a problem. All right, because now I'm seeing like a man being singled out, and you know that I got an issue with, and that's the part I don't understand. That okay, if the law says everybody's house got to be painted red on this block, well, if a couple of people didn't paint their houses and you only go after one person, that's not right.
No, I understand. We respond to complaints that we receive appropriately, and we've had inspectors out on many different violations throughout the city. It's not just Mr. Nygaard that gets prosecuted or has required to do something that they have to change, and so it's not just him, but I mean.
Well, it was, yeah, I understand that and all, but it just seemed awful funny that, everything he's getting cited for, everybody on neighbors both sides was getting away with it. That's where I get a problem. Somebody's breaking the law. They're breaking the law, no problem. He's the only guy around breaking the law. Well, make sure. But when you got everybody breaking laws and you're only going after one person, well, that don't seem.
I understand. I haven't been here the whole time. I've been here a year and a half, but I take those. Any complaint we take seriously, and we do. We do the best we can to prove whether it's right, or we can prosecute it, or we can't prosecute it, or we send them a letter to make them change, but it doesn't. Sometimes we can't verify that information to justify going to court. In other contexts, we can. So that's. We have our own challenges to try and be as fair as possible, but I can assure you, we respond to every complaint.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, I guess I'm a little older than you, I think. I grew up in a different America. But I remember if we had an issue and people were trying to get on board, hey, let's fix this, let's change that, especially with green energy. This is very important thing we're talking about. And it seemed like, I don't know, your local government used to support you. Like, hey, look at this guy. You got a great idea. They'd be knocking on your door. How can we help you? How can you help us? And why isn't that happening in your town? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know that answer. It's something that isn't supported by enough of the community, I guess. I don't know. Those policies have been made for quite some time, and we're just following through with the policy. That's our job as staff.
Yeah, but
we can make recommendations to change it, but there's no driver to push us to change it either. So
yeah, it's something. It's just not. Something really smells bad here.
Well, I'm sorry you think that.
Well, it's just that, wouldn't you like to see a wind turbine making electricity than a big old smokestack? Truthfully.
I don't disagree with you, but there's a place for all of that. And our community supports solar, and we do support wind energy, just not in the zoning district where he's at. It's a pretty dense zoning district, and that's part of the challenge.
All right,
you got to realize we're a suburb. We're not in rural America. We're not where there's lots of cornfields. We're a suburb of metropolitan Twin Cities.
Well, what does that have to do with anything? Wind is wind. My wind in Pennsylvania is the same wind you got out there in Minnesota.
I understand, but they.
Now you just went. Now you just. That was. I don't know. Now you're talking to me like I'm an idiot. That was unfair, sir.
Well, I'm sorry you think that. But I need to get going here. So, thanks for calling.
Well, what about what Judge Bush had to say on this? Okay, they fucking hung up on me.
Amazing how it all plays out. But, yeah, Judge Bush granted an order a little back that actually states that the whole entire state has the right to harvest the wind. And this overrules city code.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was getting to. Is after checking your story out online, is how do you comply with state law when local city government is trying to jail you for complying with state law? I mean, what's that?
Well, the problem is that's up to the judges to enforce the state law and slap the cities down, and that just isn't happening anymore. The judges just seem to rubber stamp what the cities want, and the judge today kind of got the short end of the stick because he gave the city what the city wants, and the city lawyer wasn't very intelligent about how he put it together.
Wow.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Sorry I'm late.
Good job.
Yeah,
good job, Russ.
Yeah, good job on that phone call, Russ. And you got a shout out that says that we should get this out to SGT Report. I have no way to contact SGT Report. If everybody has them on Twitter or something, can you guys retweet this video or the other ones that I have of him to SGT Report? Send them to Jay Nygaard's channel. His channel has his contact information, his email on it, and Jay will do an interview with anybody that can help get his message out there.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about, is getting the message out. The more people that hear, the more people are going to hear the truth instead of it, being hidden behind the lines. And that's the whole problem here. The city lawyer, I think, was a little upset with me today because I've been posting a few things on YouTube, and I found out that he's watching. He's watching all my, so, I got minutes up because of the guy, and he might even be a subscriber for all I know.
Probably is.
Oh, I bet.
The thing is, what's the underlining cause and root for all of this? I mean, it can't just be some code that you guys haven't amended since, green energy came around. And I think it's one or two of the Mayberry people there in Mayberry, not to knock the town or anything, but it's just two people in Mayberry who have been talked to about something or a issue, and then it brought to their attention or something like that. Now it's gotten a little bit bigger. Now there's charges. There's other things that I don't know about, but it just seems like there's something going. Like Russ had said, a little. He didn't have to say that and talk in the circle he did at the end there.
Guys, the main thing here is I made this call to stick up for a friend, and we all got to start sticking together and stick up for a friend. So anybody going through anything right now, you got to be there. I just went through a big thing, and I got another big thing to go through. So get out there, find out who needs you, what cause you can do that it's all about what you know is right. Just get up and get out and say something, make calls, do this, do that. But when somebody like Jay's in trouble, we got to unite. I can't understand how Antifa can unite and send 1,000 people someplace in the blink of an eye. They could fill a restaurant to throw a bureaucrat at them. If we could do this for our friends, we would have a better nation.
Oh, here. Absolutely, Hangman. That's the problem is, especially around here, nobody wants to mess with it. If it's not happening to them, then they want to put their head in the sand and look the other way because they got enough money to fill up at the gas station every time,
Right.
and their fridge is full, and they don't care.
Yeah, they're not
Exactly.
getting ecstatic.
Exactly. Everybody wake up. There's too much shit in the sand to stick your head in it.
Way too much.
So hey,
Yeah.
now I want to go back to your phone call for a minute, Hangman, and I want to talk about what this gentleman had to say, Mr. Dustin Reef. Um, I believe he said he's been here for a year and a half. Is that correct?
Yeah, he said your case went back like to 2010, and he's only with it a year and a half.
Well, I hate to tell him, but I've been here since 1966. And other than serving in the military and going to school, this area has been where I've lived. So I get that he's been here for a year and a half. The problem is, Mr. Reef, that you have no idea what the community really is. All you know is the stuff you're being spoon fed by your attorney up there and by the mayor. And the mayor, as we found out, appears not to be the straightest guy in the world. So why don't you find out what this community is and was about and stop assuming that every cookie cutter ordinance you have is going to specifically apply to every property? Because when I grew up out here, these were all cabins. And they made the zoning after all the cabins and properties were here. So most, got to be 80% of the lots in the city are substandard for their area. That's just the way the city is. And to think you're going to apply standard 1 acre zoning to a 3rd acre lot is outright ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, hey, I want to go on a little bit more, and you brought it up. We have a state law to have, Mr. Reef. There is a Minnesota statute 216F.02, which specifically states that every person in Minnesota has a right to harvest the wind. You know how I did that? Because I sued your your city before you got there, and I won and overturned the ban, and that's what Judge Bush stated. Every person in Minnesota has a right to harvest the wind. So, Mr. Reef, I count. Okay? I don't care if I live on a sliver of land, if I got 100 acres. It doesn't matter. I count and I have the right to harvest the wind. And you lying and saying to people who call that this is a, so and so community and this and that, you really need to learn where you're working before you start lecturing people on who can have what and why.
And if he is just following that ordinance, then you know what I mean? And like, why doesn't he go out to the neighborhoods and try to find out what they're about now? And if that is, if that's an enforcement agency that he's all about,
Well, and he said that the city treats complaints fairly. I have a whole email full of proof that all my neighbors around me have violations that the city continues to make excuses for. They keep going after me for every little thing the neighbors might complain about, like if I park a snowmobile outside or whatever. But if it's going to be documented proof that other people are building things that are illegal, they make excuses and they close the complaints without saying why.
so without having any type of defense, they close the complaint and just charge you.
Yes, there's a whole pile of them where they've done. My neighbor put a fence in the 0 to 75. That's as illegal as it gets around here. They just, hey, no big deal. He put a light pole, an electrified light pole, in the same setbacks the city's complaining about me. No problem. He can have that. Okay, well, what's the difference between a pole that makes electricity and a pole that uses electricity?
Absolutely. And also, counting on the visual effect, he's trying to, or someone was trying to say that your thing reflects light, while his purposely reflects light.
It makes light. And bright light. Yeah, they are trying to say that. We're not worried about that, though. The turbine doesn't reflect anything. It's got a refractory finish on it. so we're not worried. The disappointing thing, though, out of today, I would have to say, is that we're going back again, and that for some reason I'm the problem. I don't understand how following an order word for word, when that's what I got in trouble for not doing before, makes me the problem. You know, this problem, today's issue wasn't my problem. Today's issue wasn't the judge's problem. Today's issue was the city of Orono's problem, that they wrote a poor ordinance and I followed it. You don't get to say, well, you didn't follow what I wanted you to do. No, you don't get to say that, because orders like this are supposed to be specific. So, that's my problem. Is I'm sure we're going to go back, and of course, next time it's all going to be about one more time me going to jail.
So how did they already set another date, or are you going to be notified?
No, we'll be notified. The judge was reasonable on many things. He quite obviously read my affidavit because some of the questions he had, and the city was trying to say that my dock installation equipment and extra parts constitute a nuisance, and I should have to get rid of those. But many people on the lake have those. Okay, so I don't know why I have to get rid of mine, but the judge had read that those are dock parts, so that's good. So there's certain things he read and understood. It just comes down to the fact that when I've gone through this before and it says turbine, pole, and footing, and I get something that says turbine and pole, and there's not mention of a footing or these other three poles, I don't know why that's my fault. I don't know why that's the judge's fault. That's the city's fault for writing a poor order. Just like the contempt charge was a poor order. Because you know what? Instead of immediately going to jail today, I'm not going to jail. Okay? I'm still free.
Absolutely. A free man.
Yeah, let's start the clock. I'll tell you when the next hearing is, and we can start the clock.
That's kind of why I was wondering if they set a date.
How much money are you out by this energy that would have been produced, and how much money are you out that you could counter on them for all the time that they put this down? This money entrepreneurial way to secondary your electric and maybe kind of like, subsidize your bills at home with some type of a common sense way as a consumer. How much money have they prevented you from being able to save? Because you could use that towards, libel.
Well, the problem is there's no way to add that up, because the hit that my character has taken by the defamation instilled upon me by the city and the neighbors, which was quite evident today by their both lawyers' inability to actually speak the truth about actual facts. So it's really hard to say, because if I was allowed to do what I should legally have been allowed to do in the first place, I'd be having a great reputation, and who knows where my business would be by now.
See, that's what I mean. Like, that's damages, big time. Why aren't they even making amends for that? They're not even talking about that. It's like, how much more time are they going to make you sit like you just have to go with what they want and take down everything and then just get that thought out of your head? Because it sounds like that's what they want you to do, is just get the thought out of your head and don't try it again.
It does seem that way. It does seem that way. Hey, I'll tell you too. The city lawyer wasn't very happy today to find out that his contempt order compared to what the contempt statute it was very poorly written, and my lawyer actually had to stand up and say, Your Honor, it's pretty bad when a city lawyer is taking something like this personally, because you need to be above the fray. My lawyer's like, when I got to go take someone's house and their property, I'm going to understand they're kind of mad at me, and I'm not going to take it personally, because that's kind of part of the job, just like a cop. Cop has to take it. Well, a city lawyer's got to take it too. And this guy has been personal with just false attacks on my character, claiming I'm violent and claiming all kinds of things. I got Fufu, my dog, today got to be called a safety dog.
Hey guys, we got a few new people in the chat here. We got Ben Schwagel and White Knight. You guys want to welcome them? You guys got a question? Give them a shout.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Welcome, Ben Schwagel, and welcome, White Knight.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we got you fine. Anyways, this attorney needs to quit blaming me for his inability to do his job correctly. He could very easily pulled up the last contempt order there was and read it and gone off of that, but he might have just been too lazy. I don't know.
Can I put something in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, have you guys been tracking the whole thing about, now that the Senate is controlled by Republicans, President Trump has been able to put in, like, the last few weeks, like, something like, 50 new judges or something like that? Have you guys been tracking that?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys track Q, the whole Q thing at all.
No, I usually don't follow it too much. Like, I only hear what other people are talking about.
Okay, I would, if I were you, I would, even if you don't follow Q, there's a whole bunch of people who do like news broadcasts, like SGT Report, X22 Report, Edge of Wonder, was it Jordan Sather's Destroying the Illusion, Dustin Nemos, all these people, they have huge, huge followings. They now YouTube doesn't report it accurately, of course, but they have huge followings and they report on this stuff, and a lot of people listen to them. And whether you believe in Q or not, there's a lot of people listening to them. And if you guys can get this information to them and they can report on it, you'll reach a very, very big audience. And also, if you track some of these judges, if you can see who any of these judges are and find out if any of them have been appointed in, like, say, you said it's Minnesota?
Yep.
So I've heard some interesting stuff about Minnesota.
Imagine living here.
Oh yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, and my aunt moved over to Minnesota, and now she's just passed away. So, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes.
Sorry to hear that, buddy.
Oh, yeah, I'll be okay. I have a really weird life, so really weird family story. So I won't get into any of that.
Well, hey Josh, maybe we should wrap this up.
We can do that. Well, I'm gonna take an audience vote here. You guys still being entertained in the chat?
I'm just chilling. I'm making dinner with you guys. On live stream, making dinner. Talking local politics. What better way to spend the night?
I had a heart attack. I have no choice but to just sit down and do nothing.
That's funny.
So I was wondering about if you were able to actually bring this up to another level. Like, does it sit and reside at the judge's area? Can you, like, appeal the decision?
Well, yeah,
and bring it up to a higher court?
We're going to. We're stuck with the order now because supposedly even if you're going to appeal, you're supposed to follow the order no matter what damage it does to you, which is the crazy part. Instead of just allowing the tough stuff to stay, and I'll give the judge credit. He understands the ground is frozen, and I don't think he's going to require us to do anything till the ground thaws. But, you should be allowed to keep that stuff because it is a huge pain in the ass to remove that. And if you got to go put it back, you got to go buy all new stuff again. So it's very much a punishment thing to make this stuff happen. It should always be pending appeal because there's no damage coming to anyone from these poles sticking in the ground. I could see if it was something dangerous, but it's nothing dangerous.
Yeah. And Zillow doesn't care about the value that much. It's somebody out there. It's like two little ladies in Mayberry over there that just can't get over that.
Yeah, they both live next door.
I'm still shocked that they jail people for victimless crimes. I mean, it's 2019 and they still do that.
Well, that's what gets me. They treat me like I got a meth lab over here and I'm piddling little kids.
Over in Turbine.
Yes, it's like, geez, really? And when I did go to jail last time, that's the homeboys in the cell. They came to the consensus that I got white boy problems.
My goodness.
They were like, you hear? I heard that guy was a serial Turbine guy.
Yeah, he's out there saving money.
Oh man, I tell you, they was all afraid of me in jail.
Because you had a turbine.
I heard he didn't only have one, but he had three. Three of them things.
Oh, goodness.
I'm so bad, I don't even need a crime to go to jail.
They just need to put you down in the hole immediately.
That's worse than cutting one of those labels off the mattress that says "Do not remove."
That's sad. What the hell?
Hey, just something to keep in mind. The word treason has been thrown around a lot lately for some of these people who have been doing some of this illegal stuff.
What's going on? Hell yeah. Military tribunal.
Anything against the Constitution is treasonous.
Yeah. Military tribunals, like they've been building up Guantanamo Bay. I've spoken to. I'm in the military. I'm actually active duty, and they've been building up Guantanamo Bay. And I've spoken to people who have come from there, and it's like National Guard people who have been serving there. They're serving 6-month rotations. People have been going there and building it up. They've got 2 prison barges heading down there right now if they haven't already made it. People are disappearing, like personalities.
Benchwaggle, can I ask you a question? Just a real quick question. If you were Hillary Clinton and you heard about that, do you think that you'd want to put it out in the press that you want to make another bid for president to avoid that shit and say, oh, public, I can't be charged because I'm running for president? I mean, if I knew that a prison barge were going down there, I'd be afraid if I were anybody of the last regime.
That's exactly what they're doing. All those people, think about this. Look at the Democratic ticket for presidential candidates. Look at how many people are on there. That's how scared they are. They're all making a bid for the presidency.
Notice that the media doesn't even say anything like, oh, here's another one. Here's another one. And that's really just a list of who's going to be in prison. That's really all it's going to be.
Exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly what that is. There's a list of all the people who are going to go to prison.
And you know what? Those are also people who openly said that they wanted President Trump assassinated publicly, had said it publicly. Oh,
right.
What kind
there
of
with the yellow coin?
So the reason why President Trump hasn't really been making overt moves is, well, one of the things, he was waiting for January 1st, 2019, which was when that executive order took place that said that the new laws for UCMJ, which is what I fall under, Uniform Code of Military Justice, that we're waiting for the new set of rules that was written by Jeff Sessions to come into play. And so once that came into play, like the second, I think they made a bunch of arrests.
I thought you were going to.
And so a lot of those people have been going to Gitmo. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's so much going on. All the pedophiles are being. It's amazing right now. Just keep watching. You're basically watching a movie. Just keep watching. Get your.
You're preaching the choir, and you know what? I want you to keep preaching, because the more that they hear it, the more that they hear it on their own channels. It's like how conservatives expound all over Facebook, but the people behind Facebook and Twitter, they're all liberals, and they're like, hey, we got their playbook right here. Look, they're all right here. Well, the more that we do that, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my goodness.
Well, so SGT Report, he just did an interview with someone. I'm trying to remember her name. Was it Lisa? No, who was it? So the girl who lost 2 of her fingers, I think, from some accident.
Yeah. He did it. Wow.
Yeah. So he did this interview, and what the lady he was interviewing, she brought up this fact that John Podesta, he made a tweet about something about President Trump, like some negative tweet about to him, and every tweet that was a response to him was basically calling him a pedophile, saying he was going to rot in jail, calling him out as, oh, where's your walnut sauce now? All this stuff, like basically calling him out. Every single retweet to him was about that. And she was like, that gives me comfort to know that there's so many people who know what's going on. So many people that are waking up to what's happening.
Yeah. And not just Podesta. I mean, when you say that kind of stuff, I mean, it's just like us talking about the guy with the wind turbine problem. It's like, when we bring that out into the public, those people on the other side of the fence of this argument, like the Podestas, like the all those other people out there, like the people at the city council level that are opposing or upholding these stupid codes that don't make any sense to anybody, but because they are targeting this guy, like how they're targeting Trump, like Podesta, or this or that, or Q for that matter, and all the information banks that you're getting over there. It's just like, man, these people, they hate what they see, and they know that their end, the cul-de-sac is right down the way, and they're about to jump ship. They're jumping ship.
Wait, is the live stream still going?
Because you got Republicans who are jumping ship over to the Democrat side.
Yeah, we're still
as soon as they become elected. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, well the evil cabal, they run both sides of the aisle. So President Trump is like something else, and he came in on the Republican ticket, but I think he's going to run as something else when he I think he's going to
Republican. I think he's just going to be like more conservative. Like it's like more of the conservative ticket.
So I'm thinking he's gonna run as a different one altogether. Like maybe Constitutional Party, maybe a Libertarian Party, something different. Like by doing that, he could break the two-party system because everyone wants him. Everyone wants him to be the president. And if he chose a whole third party, it would destroy the two-party monopoly just by doing that.
He wouldn't do that to the grand. He wouldn't do that to the grand old party.
See, yeah, he would.
He signed a lot of stuff behind the scenes that gives them some levity to know that he is not going to do that. So, I mean, he's made promises to the party that he won't do that. So, I mean, to do that, he would actually be going back on his word on a lot of big things. And especially, maybe you're right. You may be right, but I think that he might just be more placating to a conservative base because the two bases are getting revved up like never before, and we're going to see a civil war problem.
Well, I don't think we're going to see a civil war. I don't think it'll get that.
Man, I hope not too. Just getting to the point. It's going to happen at a gas station somewhere. Guarantee it. I think it's going to happen. And it's not going to be controlled by the government. It's going to be the people here who are sick, and like the government's going to have to keep up the people revolting against each other.
Well, just remember the heat map for Democratic versus Republican. Remember the heat map, how it's all red except for small, minute areas of blue, which means that the Democrats, the Antifa guys, they will not survive. If there comes out to a civil war, we would wipe them out in an instant. And
in an instant. And you know that. That's why they got to keep using our system against itself to get to the position to be able to take over our system and then be able to recoil when our system cannot deal with socialism. Because free market enterprise cannot last if we are living under socialist, like we'll say ideologies running the money, because you will run out of other people's money so quickly that you are all on the backs of the workers after that.
Yeah, so here's an idea that I have about communism, the whole thing about communism. So it requires perfect people that are all identical in order for it to function correctly. And none of us are perfect and none of us are identical. Therefore, communism will just never work for us.
Well, it's not an experiment that's ever worked anywhere, or will. The utopia that they seek is a fundamental dream that could only be woken up from. It's a nightmare.
Well,
that's what I mean. It's never going to work. Sounds good.
like I said, it would only work for perfect people, and we are not perfect. Therefore, it will never work.
It can't work ever anywhere under any people, and especially perfect people, because perfect people would not want to live under socialism.
Yeah, they would most likely choose something else.
They're exceptional.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
you
weird.
gotta have some kind of a rating system, you know. Some people, you know, want quality to, you know, highest to the lowest. I mean, why would you want it scattered?
Well, if you've had 3 or 4 generations that have been disenfranchised by the Democrat Party, and you are akin to that to vote for that. So if I get their benefits to vote for that, then that's my lifestyle. I'm being raised. That's my society that's teaching me to do that. So I reproduce people who do that to vote a certain way. So I understand why we want to get rid of the two-party system. But right now, in the country's position, if we were to get rid of the two-party system, then the way that we would ever be able to get rid of the two-party system later would be destroyed. Because of our momentum right now, we know that there are zealots under the GOP that we are seeking and we are destroying and we are identifying. So just give it a little bit of time, I say. All where we go on, we go all, of course. But don't abandon ship just yet.
Yep.
I'm
with...
It's not over till the fat lady sings.
You already know. let us not yet run from the battle.
Is that offensive now? You probably can't say that no more.
What's that?
Well, the orange. Wait for the orange man to sing, and then we'll be okay.
True. Valid. Orange Man is not that bad.
No, he's not. Orange Man, good.
Well, beyond being good, he is the identity of what American freedom really is. And when you wake somebody up from sleepwalking, they are upset, aren't they? They want to beat you up. And that's what you're doing with the left. When you wake up the left, they are upset because who could dupe them? And then all of a sudden they want to revert back to the left. But once you have all that information and you're woken up, it's hard to. Because it hurts how long you've been asleep.
Is anybody finding it odd that CNN's starting to agree with Trump on some things?
They gotta keep
have you guys heard of Mark Taylor, the fireman prophecy?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know the name of the fireman.
Okay, so you should look that up. Look up Mark Taylor. That's Taylor. Fireman prophecies. That's his thing. He back in 2011 he started getting prophecy stating that President Trump was when it was just Donald Trump, that God had basically chosen him to be his man, and that all this stuff saying he was going to be the next president. He was writing this stuff down, and this was back in 2011. And then President Trump became president, and but he's been doing prophecy like over and over, and like continuously writing stuff. And the first thing that he wrote was all this stuff. And everything has come true in the first prophecy except for one thing, and that was that the mainstream media would start to support President Trump. Well, they haven't yet, except for CNN is now starting to turn around, which is kind of interesting.
Let me ask you a question. More so prophecy, less so prophecy. I'm thinking more so common sense. Back in Western days, you'd have these people who would run whole cities just because they could see the trends and like how trends were moving. So they could actually guide the group and masses in their minds a certain way. And they'd stay that way. So when we think about like how we just were talking about the prophecy or someone's prophecy, we'll say like maybe there were like 32,000 people in all of America who thought the same freaking thing that he did, had the exact same thoughts, same things got got put into the same ringer through the mind, but they did not write it down. They did not create a YouTube channel, or they didn't put it in 4chan or some other kind of thing out there. Reddit, I don't know. But the thing is, it's like he was a part of a huge group of people who already knew what was happening.
You're talking about combined consciousness.
It's huge, man. It's a giant movement. That's the real awakening.
Oh, yeah.
Really wanted. They just missed the boat.
So, what the thing about this one though is that he